Away from that to the NDC, where the flag bearer of the party, John Mahama, says the Ministry of Sanitation has chalked no success as Accra remains one of the dirtiest cities in the country, even though monies are pumped into the ministry. He says he will abolish the ministry if he comes into office.
We will close down the Ministry of Sanitation. One, to reduce expenditure, and two, I don't see any use. Accra, our country is dirtier than when there was no Ministry of Sanitation. Indeed, this country was cleaner when sanitation was under local government than as a standalone ministry. And so we'll close down that ministry and we'll take the sanitation schedule back to local government. Indeed, because we want to reduce government expenditure, it's not only the sanitation ministry. In transport, aviation and railways, we're going to close them down and send them back to the transport ministry. We're going to combine communications and information again. And so we want to reduce the number of ministries.
All right, so let's stay a bit longer on that story and get on to Zoom and speak to the founder of the environmental group Eco Conscious, and Aula Sewa joins us on phone actually for the conversation. Thank you for your time this afternoon and welcome to the program. Now, so far, how would you say that the Ministry of Sanitation has been effective in dealing with waste in the country?
Well, what I would say is that we do have some decentralization taking place. So we do have the local assemblies, municipal assemblies, who have environmental departments who are supposed to deal with environmental issues, including sanitation. So whether the issue is, resources, or whether the issue is lack of enforcement, the fact of the matter is that they have a role to play, and it's for them to play the role they have been mandated to play. So yes, we can get rid of the Ministry of Sanitation, but it will not necessarily translate into a cleaner environment.
But I also want to know, from your quarters, how would you rate the ministry so far in this administration?
Well, you see, for me, I just look at what is happening on the ground. And as I'm saying, we have municipal assemblies. They have, environmental departments. Reports are made to them from time to time about the state of the environment, about sanitation issues. For example, let me give you an example. There are lots of structures where there's no place of convenience. Every human being needs to go. So where do you think they go? Some go in plastic bags and litter it all over the place. Some keep it, and when it rains, they put it in the gutters. But you see, you have as I've said, you have some amount of decentralization that has already taken place. So you have the environmental officers who are supposed to be going around. If they were going around, they would see buildings which are there without permission. Even cement buildings, some have turned the toilets into rooms. What do they do about it? Sometimes you see a building being constructed, they put stop work, and then they go to sleep. So what I'm saying is that, yes, we can close down the Ministry of Sanitation. It could save us some money. But in terms of improving sanitation in the country, if we don't get the sanitation officers at the municipal assemblies, metropolitan assemblies, to do the job they are mandated to do, we're not going to see much difference on the ground. And that's what I'm concerned about. A difference on the ground, not just sound bites, not just, yes, close down the ministry if you believe it's just duplication and it's not, yielding the result it should yield. But if you don't resource and ensure that the environmental officers at the municipal and metropolitan assemblies do their work, I'm afraid there's not going to be much of a difference. You might just save some money, which is good, but it will not change the situation on the ground.
And as a citizenry, how do we help in making sure that we're keeping our environments clean to aid the work of the Ministry of Sanitation for now and even in the future as a people? How do we do that to help the whole drive?
Very good question. All of us have a role to play. So we shouldn't litter. We should make sure that we use, what shall I say, our rubbish collectors, which should be segregated so that you have plastics in one place, paper in one place, household waste in another place, food waste, in another place. But having said that, you always have recalcitrant citizens. That is where enforcement comes in. People litter. You need to deal with them for littering. People don't have anybody to collect their waste. Every household, every business will generate waste. So what the authorities need to do is to make sure that they know where their waste is being taken so it doesn't end up in our gutters. In the past, you pay your house rates and then the assemblies themselves will make sure that your waste is collected. As it is now, they farmed it out. Some of them to Zoom line, Alliance waste, and other people have the tricycles who come causing so much noise pollution. But does anybody know where they are taking the rubbish? And some, of course, use the gutters as their dustbins. But when the citizens report, what do the assemblies do about it? They do sometimes nothing. So it doesn't encourage the citizenry to be active citizens and report wrongdoing. Okay. Report people who don't have dustbins and use the gutters as dustbin. People who are using kiosks as dwelling places. We know people use kiosks and so on and so forth as dwelling places. Where do we think they ease themselves? Where do we think they ease themselves? So what I'm saying is that the citizenry can do only so much. They should play their role. But also the metropolitan and municipal assemblies should do the work they are mandated to do.
All right.
And currently, it doesn't look like they're doing their work.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Abolish is with